Thank you all for coming. We are grateful that you could come within such short notice. And the notice is also on account of how the fast pace of developments within the energy sector that we all sometimes have to be playing catch up to. So I have a prepared statement here that I'm going to read. After I'm done, I'll take a couple of questions, and then a copy of the statement will be shared among. We only have a few printed copies, environmental concerns. We shared among, and then the rest, you can get copies on our website just after the presentation. So please, let's settle down. And as much as possible, if we can minimize the movements, that would be very helpful. Okay, so today we have titled our statement ECG's Galamsey on Ghana's budget reaches Crescendo. And that is coming on the back of the recent letter the PRC has sent to the Energy Minister recounting the debt sustainability problems that the sector faces. Now, after numerous warnings about the mismanagement of ECG, it is becoming clear that the carefully maintained facade through media campaigns and celebrity endorsements by the company's management is starting to crumble, revealing a concerning reality that threatens not just the existence of the company, but the sustainability of the country's budget. For the past few years, the public has been shouldering the financial burden of subsidizing ECG's operations, raising serious concerns about the political will to reform the utility company and push it to operate with a business-oriented mindset. Despite long-standing signs of inefficiency, politicians have failed to take decisive action to fix ECG. Since the inception of the IMF program in 2022, a major condition was for the government to establish systems to eliminate the recurrent under-recoveries borne by the budget through, one, programming for the under-recoveries in the budget, and two, taking corrective actions to prevent the materialization of the under-recoveries. However, there has been no sign of improvement, contrary to what the company makes the public to believe. And today I've seen another press statement from them telling us that the energy sector is on the right path. The major challenge of the company has been one, revenue collection. ECG simply does not collect enough revenue to account for power sales. This situation has worsened over time, despite claims that the company is doing better. Between 2017 and 2022, ECG's losses increased from about 295 million Ghana cedis to about 9.7 billion Ghana cedis. Recent reports published by PRC show that the under-recoveries between August 2023 and July 2024 amount to about 30.6 billion. That is the shortfalls from the power sector. And it also shows that the average collection rate within the period was an abysmal 43%. When I share the speech, you get the trend of that. This poor performance raises doubts about the efficiency of the touted digitalization efforts to bring more revenue through the new ECG Power App introduced in January 2023. This new app replaced the ECG Power App, which had operated before December 2022. The evidence shows that the switch of the apps was procurement-driven rather than an efficiency measure. We will explain why in a few minutes, and a full review of the contract will be published by ACEP soon. The second challenge of ECG is accounting for revenue collected. From the first point, it is evidence that revenue performance is abysmal. Even more egregious is that ECG fails to account for the limited revenue it collects properly. Following the recent validation of ECG's revenue by PwC, it became evident that the simple directive by PwC and the President of Ghana for the company to operate a single account to ensure visibility of total collection and onward transmission to the value chain participants was not complied with. Rather, ECG operated 61 accounts through 16 banks and would not make details of those accounts visible to auditors. Therefore, the PwC's letter to the Energy Minister is only a rehash of an old problem known to all players in the sector, including the minister himself. In fact, the PwC had written earlier to the President to highlight the same issues but got no results. What makes the Commission think it will get results from the minister remains rather curious. This also highlights how toothless politics has rendered the PwC to the extent that it cannot sanction utilities that are flagrantly abusing regulation and have become simply ungovernable. In its letter to the minister, PwC is literally begging for transparency from ECG and proposing policy reforms to address regulatory failures. Now, why have new revenue measures proved ineffective? For over a decade, ECG's poor revenue performance has been attributed to managerial, financial, and technical inefficiencies. In recent times, the political settlement has nursed and sustained the managerial efficiencies, which have in turn worsened the financial and technical challenges of the company. Two prime examples of these political settlement manifestations include: one, the introduction of the ECG Power App. ECG introduced the Power App in January 2023 to replace its internally developed app under the pretext that the in-house app could not be improved to deliver efficiency and iterations to incorporate digital payment solutions. In other words, ECG's internal engineers could not integrate payment APIs as explained in an extract of RTI response to ACEP below. So we sent an RTI and this was a response. The ECG app, which existed before the introduction of the management platform services, was deployed and implemented in-house for revenue collection. We would like to clarify that aside from the telcos' charges for using their payment platforms upstream, no payments were made to any other service provider. And take note of the following as well. However, the system had varying forms of deficiencies relating to safeguarding the revenue and inability to perform balance management. And the funny part comes. In addition, the system could not accept internationally recognized card payment systems like Visa, MasterCard, among others, because the in-house application did not meet the regulatory framework as prescribed by Payment Systems and Services Act. To put it in another way, ECG did not have the requisite capacity to operate a payment system to provide a payment service without a payment systems license issued by BOG. The alternative was to partner a licensed payment systems provider like Haptel Limited. End of quote. That was ECG's response to us. Consequently, ECG had to outsource the development and maintenance of its payment system to Haptel. According to a contract received from ECG, the total cost for the design and development of the platform is about 171.8 million Ghana cedis. Between November 2022 and December 2023, the cumulative service charge was over 100 million Ghana cedis. In addition, Haptel will be paid 0.95% of all revenues collected as service charges. At the time of contract execution, which was March 2024, 75 million Ghana cedis have been paid to Haptel on the framework cost. This information in the contract contradicts information Haptel itself communicated on its proceeds from the agreement. On March 28, 2024, just 8 days after the contract was executed, Haptel published the cost of developing a payment systems at $25 million, which is around 315 million Ghana cedis, of which we confirmed at $12 million, estimated at 151 million Ghana cedis had been paid. Now, when you compare the information from the contract that ECG gave us, as well as Haptel's account of what the cost of the platform should be, there are certain variations. When you look at framework development, ECG, the contract supplied by ECG is quoting 171.8 million Ghana cedis. Haptel accounts is 315 million Ghana cedis. Service charge is the same, 0.95% of total revenue across board. Then mobile money and card scheme providers. The contract is stating 0.7% of total revenue, and Haptel's account is that it is 1% of total revenue. There are also additional charges for transfers to ECG, which is 0.85% of total revenue as indicated in the contract supplied by ECG, and Haptel has been silent on that charge. ECG abandoned the internal capacity to build and maintain a payment system for an exorbitant development fee and maintenance cost for this hurriedly arranged transaction through a sole source contract. Intriguingly, PLC, which should have accounted for such expenditures in the tariff methodology, is now requesting transparency and access to the contract. And you can see it in PLC's letter that they sent to the minister. The contract gives Haptel control over all revenues collected until such a time it is disbursed to ECG. The contract also creates a fund designed to receive an undetermined portion of revenues collected before the balance is disbursed to ECG. This retention of unspecified amounts from all revenues collected undermines the requirements of the cash waterfall mechanism and efforts under the IMF program to bring visibility to ECG's total revenues. The second prime example of political settlement mechanism is exchange rate manipulation. One of the major challenges of ECG in its handling of the exchange rate for its transactions. In many instances, the exchange rate reported by ECG to the Cash Waterfall Committee was significantly higher than the interbank exchange rate. The exchange rate manipulation created a net exchange loss of about 6.5 billion Ghana cedis in 2022, which is up from 600 million in 2021 to about 7 billion Ghana cedis in 2023. ACEP, through the RTI process, requested historical exchange rates used by ECG for its transactions. The company has since May 2024 not been able to supply the requested information, stating in an August 2024 response that, and I quote, "The requested information is quite extensive and will require some time to compile. All efforts are being made to put together the information requested for submission. We acknowledge your forbearance thus far and implore your continued support as we work towards meeting the request," and since May 2024. This level of manipulation undermines the ability of ECG to pay value chain and redirect public resources away from legitimate expenditure programs. What are the implications of all of this that I'm talking about? The growing fiscal burden imposed on the economy by ECG's continuous poor performance has become a ticking time bomb that can undermine the progress made after the domestic and international debt restructuring keep Ghana solvent. With the level of debt accumulation and the intervention required of the state, it is just a matter of time before Ghana is plunged into another debt distress. With IPP debt mounting and gas suppliers and transporters demanding payments, the pressure on the government to sacrifice social investment is high. Already, some IPPs have begun targeting payment guarantees to pay some of their outstanding debts. Car Power, for example, has drawn down about $112 million to settle the debt owed to them. On the gas side, drawdowns on Standard Chartered Bank letters of credit by the OCTP partners have an outstanding balance of about $400 million to be settled by government. The government now needs to urgently replenish or stay current with the OCTP partners, failing which subsequent drawdowns will trigger an attack on the World Bank guarantee on the project. To conclude, the political letter to enable ECG to deliver value to the people of Ghana continues to hurt Ghana's budget and, by extension, development efforts. The Energy Sector Recovery Program estimates that the realized power sector shortfalls between 2019 and 2023 were about $8.25 billion. This is sheer waste of public resources that cannot exist. In light of the above preliminary comments, ACEP recommends the following. 1. PURC should assume its regulatory functions over ECG. Specifically, the Commission should implement aggressive measures to have visibility over how much revenue is collected and spent on value chain participants and any other expenditures that may be undermining the sustainability of the sector. 2. PURC should immediately audit the HAPTEL contract and verify all the payments made to the company to assure value for money for the country and clarify discrepancies in cash values reported by HAPTEL and ECG. And finally, the current management of ECG should be relieved of their jobs and immediately replaced with effective and transparent management that will salvage the company and its attendant fiscal burden on the state and the people of Ghana. Thank you very much for your audience.
Consider